Yeah, my name is Manuai. I'm part of the talent development team of IBF, the Institute of Banking and Finance. We're very excited that you have chosen TFIP to be part of your career conversion journey. So before I start, please note that the Q&A box is available for you to put in your questions. My colleagues are present to answer them. I will also take a pause at the suitable slides to respond to some of your questions to answer them online. I mean, over the call. Okay, so let's begin. Today, we'll be going through the following. We'll talk a bit about the traineeship journey. I will also share the overview of OJT check-in and what is the OJT check-in structure is like, the OJT checklist hosted in the HRMS portal, and finally, we'll talk a bit more about the next steps. Okay? So, in terms of the traineeship OJT journey, so our FI partners invested substantially in TFIP trainees as part of the commitment to groom local talents. FIs are also co-funding your course fees and the training allowances that you receive on a monthly basis. Trainees like yourselves are also taking substantial risks in leaving your comfort zone, perhaps also gainful employment for a switch in careers into tech roles in the financial industry. So therefore, both mentors and trainees have good reasons to ensure a meaningful traineeship experience for all involved. So while the structured training aims to equip you with knowledge, the OJT is to complement the learning by providing trainees with industry experience and additional skills that are aligned to the skills framework for the tech role in your training area. So as a trainee, there are some expectations too. You should exhibit the level of maturity of a mid-career individual who gain confidence quickly and managing tasks independently. And you should be committed to make the switch for the long haul. Trainees should also demonstrate proactiveness and agility in learning in the training area and in the industry. You are now a few months, maybe some of you shorter than others, into the OJT. It is timely for us to check in with you and your FIs via a survey and documenting your learnings in the OJT checklist. During OJT, you are encouraged to plan your annual leave and discuss it with your mentor. Should you be feeling unwell, you can apply for medical leave to rest, but please inform your manager and provide the relevant supporting documents. Trainees who are called to serve their NS duties must apply for no pay leave for the duration that you are away. For any other reasons to apply for no pay leave, please seek prior approval from us first. Trainees can exit the program via early emplacements, withdrawal, or see themselves through the completion of the program. So all these processes that I've mentioned just now are actually managed by the Payday HRMS portal. So the check-in will allow us to have a view if you are meeting your learning objectives and progressing as expected. We hope to have your inputs that your mentors are providing you with the adequate guidance and support. Thirdly, we wish to identify and address any obstacles or difficulties that you are facing. Check on your overall satisfaction and engagement with the OJT experience. And finally, we hope to gather your insights to improve the program. We have planned for 3 OJT check-ins throughout your traineeship. So there are 2 parts to a check-in exercise. Part 1 will be to complete a survey. Some of you have already completed the survey. Thank you very much. We look forward to receiving inputs from the rest of you by 27th of February. So the survey is to gather your feedback on the experience that you've had so far and inputs on the structured training. Where requested, we can also schedule a one-to-one call with you for you to share with us your inputs if it's too much to put inside the survey. So the part 2 of the OJT check-in is completing the online OJT checklist. So you can book a time with your mentor to have a conversation regarding the progress of your OJT in achieving your learning objectives. You may download a copy of the OJT checklist that is housed in the HRMS portal to facilitate the conversation. The OJT checklist is mapped to the skills framework of the ICT roles. Okay, so in terms of the timing of the check-in, the first one is now. We have already commenced on that. The second check-in will happen sometime in June, where your experience of your OJT could be quite different or have progressed, and you can share with us more of the skills that you are being exposed to or have attained. And finally, we will do a completion survey by October. So why October and not December is because some of you may accumulate your leave and take them for the last month of your program. So we hope that we can gather your inputs in October before you complete the program. So 6 months after your program, we will reach out again to check in on you and, of course, to gather your employment status. Yes. Okay, I take a pause now to take a look at your questions. Okay, no questions so far. Okay, I will move on. So before I do a simple walkthrough in the Payday HRMS portal, I would like to share how the OJT checklist is facilitated in the portal. So we will be using the appraisal module to facilitate this process. So although it's an appraisal module, it's not an appraisal on your performance. Okay, I will talk about it a bit more. So an online document, okay, so it will start with the online document that is created for you. So if you log into your HRMS now, in the appraisal module, you should see a document, an online document created for you. So once you click edit, you'll be able to see the entire checklist, right? So I'm making use of this appraisal module so that when you have completed editing it, you can submit and then you will route to your manager for their review and for the endorsement. Okay, so this is only a facility, but it doesn't stop you from having conversations. Okay, so it will start with a status not started, and it will progress to the status of drafted once the form is being edited. So you can continue to update and come back to a document in the draft status until it is ready to be submitted. So before submitting, I would have expected conversations with your mentor or your supervisors to have taken place. Okay, so when the online form is submitted, it will progress to pending. So mentors and supervisors can take the opportunity to comment. I put in their comments for you, and they can click approve so that the document can be routed to me. So as we have planned for 3 check-ins as mentioned in the previous slide, once I receive the document and reviewed, I will decline the document for it to be routed back to you. So don't be alarmed when it is like declined or you receive rejected. It's just a process that's telling you that, we are ready for our next check-in exercise. Okay, so you will receive a decline or even a reject for you to amend again before the next check-in. Okay, so maybe I can talk a little bit more about the the checklist. Okay, although it's called a checklist, you don't have to check every one of the skills because it's a set of skills that is expected of data analytics or a software engineer, whichever training area that you are in. So they are the list of skills that is expected of a data analyst, okay, for example. But because you are a trainee, you may not be exposed to all those skills. But even if you are a full-fledged, functioning data analyst, you may not use all those skills because every company's data analysts work on different things. So you do acquire skills that is in the list, or you acquire skills that's outside of this list. So don't get too hung up or too nervous about the scoring at the end as well. Yeah, I will show you later because that's immaterial. Because what we are using this checklist is to track your learning progress. Okay, it's not to assess your performance. Okay, I hope you can differentiate that a little bit, but let me just go through it and see whether there are more questions that you may have. Okay, I've been through this. So I hope you're familiar by now that this is the login page of the Payday HRMS portal, as we're using it to facilitate all the processes that I mentioned just now. So you should all have received an account activation email, but if you need support to log in, please write into us via the TFIP email. So this is how an activation email look like. So if you have not activated your account, please write to us to assist. So you will have also, you will not receive an email to say that your checklist is ready, but it is already there. Okay. So the first to act is you as trainees to provide your inputs of the learning progress and against the technical and generic skills listed. If you are unable to see your OJT checklist, please write into us too. We will assist. Okay. So I have broken down the page into 3 parts for me to go through. Okay. So once you go into the online form, you will see 3 tabs. You are encouraged to start with the technical skills competency tab and move to the generic skills before completing the comments in the summary tab. So the skills you are seeing are adapted from the skills framework from the ICT roles in your training area. So please note that this is to indicate your progress in attaining the skills. You may indicate that using the score field where 1 is in progress, 2 is completed, and 0 is not applicable. Okay. And for those that you have indicated not applicable, please indicate the reason in the remarks section. So to repeat, this is not an appraisal of your performance. Okay. So when you have completed the document to the best of your ability, you can click submit to route the document for your manager to review and approve it. So I hope there are some questions lining up for us, and we don't. Okay, we can move on. Okay, so this is where the others are, right? So don't worry about the score. As I mentioned, there is this scoring at the end. Because we are not using this as an appraisal, the scoring doesn't mean anything. Okay, so what I need to see is to see how you are progressing, whether you are attaining, you are exposed to that skill. Have you attained those skills? And if you have, you can maintain in progress throughout your program. That's fine as well, because it's very subjective whether you have actually attained that skill. But in any case, I'm happy with 1 or 2 or even 0, but just provide me with a reason why the skill is not applicable to your role. Okay, so that's the OJT checklist. Before I proceed to the leave management pages, maybe I can just mention this a little bit more. So in terms of the OJT checklist, although this is not to assess your performance, it does not mean that you should not maintain your work ethics or try to perform your ability. Because throughout the OJT is still an observation by the FI to go through to see whether there is any suitability or potential that you can fill any of the open roles. So it is important to maintain your performance, although it will not be recorded in the OJT checklist. But take this OJT checklist as an opportunity to express your willingness to learn, to express your interest in the company, and also to demonstrate your capability, your breadth, and the depth of it. Okay. I have a question here. Let me answer it now. What should we do if our manager is on leave, but they need to approve the OJT checklist? Is the manager away for the entire month of February? If he's not, we will appreciate that if he can do so before he goes on leave. Yeah, because we sent it out like earlier this week. The important thing is that you have a conversation. Okay, the conversation must take place, and at least for you to submit. So we will do the chasing if the manager is not able to approve it on time. But do your best as well so that they have enough time to take a look and have the conversations. So conversations are very important. So I'd rather that you have the conversation, have an agreement, set some expectation so that you can submit the OJT checklist with confidence. Okay. So what if another question that I would like to answer is what if the technical section, a large majority of skills are not applicable and the job scope is purely BAU that does not require technical skills? So I will be very surprised because this is a program to induct you into a tech role in the financial sector, right? So if technical skills are not involved, please explain it to me and discuss with your manager if the OJT is exposing you to the role that you want. Okay, so so it's like for a data analyst, I always like data analytics, okay, as an example. So as a data analyst, you must be able to process data, clean data, gather data, or maybe the other way around, gather data, clean data, and use data, correct? So if any of these are not, you're not exposed to any of these, then that is a question, right? Whether or not you're heading in the right direction, and if it's in the direction that you aspire or you have signed up for. So that's why I mentioned just now, it's very important to have conversations. And if it is aligned to your aspiration, but the checklist doesn't say so, or the checklist is not aligned, that's fine as well. But I'm quite sure most of them would be there. Okay, so if you still have questions, please indicate in the survey that you wish to speak to us. I can address the concern one-to-one. I have a question on how to determine the item to be completed or in progress. When in doubt, it should be in progress. But the best person to identify which skills is being attempted or exposed to is a conversation with your manager. So for example, there is this item on, I think, stakeholder engagement or data. Yeah, sorry, I cannot remember any right now. But in any case, a conversation with your manager is important for you to identify which are the skills that is applicable in your OJT. So once you have identified those, you can decide or you can discuss with your manager and see where you are, in the progress of attaining that skill. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. So there is another question to ask whether there's a very little correlation with the TFIP and the past cases. Okay, this one I don't quite understand your question. I would suggest that for questions that I couldn't answer now, you set a time with us so that we can address them one-to-one. Okay, for those who have only just started in December, your OJT in December, I can understand if it's a bit difficult to complete the OJT checklist. However, I would encourage you strongly to have a face-to-face very soon, so that you can go through the checklist together and identify the skills that is relevant to the OJT role that you are in. Okay, so at least that's something to start off with. If you have a buddy, right, assigned to you, you can check with the buddy first and do the first cut with your buddy and then have another conversation with your manager. Okay, so I will have to leave it to you to ensure those conversations takes place. So there's a question on the deadline of 27th of Feb. Is this the deadline for trainees to submit or for the manager to approve? It's actually for the manager to approve as well. So you must give them ample time for them to take a look at your submitted checklist and for them to do the approval by the 27th of February. So what I'm suggesting just now is that you download the form from the portal, have an offline conversation so that there are no surprises what you put into the online form so that the manager can quickly scan through, put in their comments, and approve it directly. So this does not replace conversations. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your questions. Let me just move on to the leave management section of it. So as mentioned at the beginning of the briefing, the HRMS portal provides a function for trainees to apply for leave. So the HRMS portal is quite intuitive, so I hope you are able to use it quite easily. Oh, apologies. Hang on. So you are encouraged to discuss your leave plans with your mentors and utilize the leave periodically to recharge. So please be reminded that unused leave will not be encashed. So you are encouraged to plan and utilize them fully. Okay, so you can indicate the type of leave and the dates of the absence. Please attach the necessary documents, especially for medical leave and especially for medical leave. So to emphasize, trainees who are called to serve the NS duties must apply for no pay leave for the duration. For any other reasons to apply for no pay leave, please seek prior approval, discuss with your manager, and discuss with us before you apply the leave online. So once you're done, you can click submit and you'll be routed to your approvers for the action. Payslip. You may download your payment advice for the monthly training allowance via the HRMS portal. It would be available to you upon the disbursement of the training allowances. So if you are having trouble with this function, let us know too, so that we can help you along. And please be reminded to ensure that your pay now is linked to your NRIC, and the bank account must be able to receive funds transferred by gyro. So from our experience, digital banks do not receive funds via gyro. So we had previously we had trainees who wanted to switch banks to receive the training allowance. That's fine and good. You don't really have to tell us. However, you must do it outside our processing time. Okay, you know when you are expected to receive by the 10th working day in the following month. So do it well before the end of the current month to do all these changes. And we had trainees who use digital banks to receive the training allowance, and the transfer was not successful. And we had and because of that, the individual received the training allowance quite late because of all the movements in between. Okay, so in order not to have any delays, please choose a non-digital bank to receive your training allowance. Okay, so referring to the email I sent to you earlier this week, please complete the mandatory processes on time. First of all, please provide your inputs to the survey and reach out to us if you wish to have a call, right? In parallel, yeah. So you book a time to speak to us, okay? And then also book a time to speak to your mentor to complete the OJT checklist. So I do expect initiative from trainees, from you, right, to make the first move because this is what you had chosen to for yourself. Okay, so in order for you to make the best out of it, you have to be a bit more, take a lot more initiative in managing your own career. Okay, so being upfront and reaching out to your manager is the first step. Okay, so I hope you will have consistent and good conversations with your mentors. And do let us know if you need support to do so. Okay, so we look forward to your timely submissions. Right. So maybe at this time, I can stop sharing, right? Let me just look at the questions online that you have posted, I mean. Okay, I have a question regarding the OJT checklist. So if our existing progress is not yet started for a specific area, do we fill it as 0 or put it as not started in the comments? So if it's relevant and you have not started, you can indicate as in progress actually. Yeah, so at least we will know that you are in the process of acquiring that skill. Okay, so I hope that helps. So there's a question on, does my manager require access to the HRMS portal to approve your leave? They do. All your managers have access to the HRMS portal, and the internal leave portal is insufficient because we have no access to it. So it is meant for the internal, your host FI's management, but very sorry that you have to also apply on the HRMS portal because some of our FI partners, they do not have an internal system to track. So we have this to track independently. So please remind your manager that they also need to approve your leave via the Payday HRMS portal. We're very happy to help them reset the password if they have not, if they don't forget the passwords. Okay, hang on. I'm just reading through your questions. So there is a question asking to say that the company or the department does not apply what I have learned in the structured training. So this is an opportunity for you to have serious conversations with your mentor on what you have learned and what is the expectation using the checklist as the basis for your discussion. So if you have difficulty in doing that, let me know, let us know, and we will see how we can help you facilitate that conversation. But I'm quite sure as mid-career individuals like yourself, you do have that ability to have those conversations. But let me know if you have you need extra support in this area. Okay. There is a question on exit process, early exit process, if there is a penalty. So once you have completed the structured training, you have no obligation towards IBF on how no obligation towards IBF lah. However, because your course fees is co-funded by the FI may request for you to pay them back, right, in some proportions. So it's not a hard and fast rule. Every FI conducts themselves differently. So you may want to check in with the HR coordinator if you have that intention. Okay. I have a question regarding a claim not paid. So I'm not quite sure what claim it is about. So maybe you can write into us at the TFIP mailbox as shown on the screen. Okay, so if there's any other questions that I've not answered, please write into us. We're happy to support. And actually, we have come to the end of the session, and we will provide answers to your answered questions, in our FAQ and alongside the user guides. So do you still need if you still need user guides, please let us know if you can't access the link that I provided. And a recording of this session and slides will be made available to you via email. We thank you again for choosing TFIP in your career conversion journey. So have a good afternoon. Thank you.